I recently made a video on how I failed with my 2022 goals and why that actually didn't bother me. But despite that, I'm still setting a bunch of goals for 2023. It's just the way that I go about actually making sure that I complete those goals is a bit different. And I will be doing this all, like showing you all this in Notion. If you don't know how to use Notion or anything like that, it is completely fine to use something other than that, but I'm using Notion. If you need help with Notion, you can probably find a bunch of videos on how to use Notion. All right, jumping right into it, and I will probably be showing you what I mean by like going through and making sure that I stick to the goals later on. But jumping right into it, I have my plans set for reading 10 books and 1 manga. The books are Brisingr and Inheritance, which are the 3rd and 4th books of the Inheritance cycle, or Cycle of Inheritance, which are the books about Aragon. And then I have the Heroes of Olympus, the entire series. I have that planned out, and that is like they are for 5 books that I'm going to be reading. And then the manga that I'm planning to read is called Haikyuu, which is manga about volleyball. I read it already in English. I'm looking forward to reading that because I've never actually read it while the entire thing has been out. So I'm just looking forward to doing that. And therefore, I'll probably be reading it quite quickly. And then I have another book, which is actually a first for me. I have never read this book before, which is the first time that I'm actually reading something in Portuguese that I haven't already read in English. And it is a fiction book. That is also first for me in Portuguese. It is called How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's a self-help book that I've heard a lot about it, and therefore I want to try reading it. And then I have plans to read 2 other books. I just haven't decided which 2 books. Yeah, it doesn't seem too unrealistic to me. I'm actually not going to be reading them one at a time. What I recently started doing, and I saw another YouTuber called Elizabeth Phillips, at least I think it's Phillips, talk about how she reads more than 1 book at a time, because you might not be in the mood to read, or you might be in the mood to read, but not in the mood to read that particular book, which is why I'm probably going to be reading multiple books at the same time. I'm about halfway through Brisingr, and I'm about 1/3 done with The Lost Hero, which is the first book from Heroes of Olympus. And I think I read maybe the first chapter of Haikyuu, so I've gotten a decent start at that. I'm doing the same thing when it comes to series. I have 3 series that I want to finish up. More might be added at some point, but at this point, these are the series that I'm probably going to be watching. Number 1 is Pokemon. I think I have about 150 more episodes to get through now that I still haven't watched. And then there is Scrubs, which I have a lot of episodes left to watch. And then finally, The Flash. I'm not entirely sure if I'll manage to get through all of them, because I'm pretty sure that means that I'll have to watch an episode or 2 every day. I at least haven't been doing that much recently. And then in terms of speaking practice, I'm making vlogs on this channel, and that's something that I will probably continue to do. I really want to get better at shooting them. And one other thing that I get from doing vlogs is I get a lot of speaking practice. So I want to get 50 vlogs done. I've made a checklist of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, just to make it easier for myself to tell if I'm actually doing it or if I'm lagging behind, if it actually seems manageable. I know that 50 sounds like a lot, but it's going to be really interesting going back to maybe the first vlog of this year or the first vlog that I ever did and see how much my speaking has improved. I want to actually set a really lofty goal for myself of doing a C2 test or something that is equivalent of that. For those of you who aren't aware, there is something called the CEFR framework, and they have this way of explaining your proficiency level in a language. So C2 is actually the highest level. I'm definitely nowhere near that point at the moment because I need to study grammar. I haven't been doing that. And so that is something that I will be focusing a lot on. I need speaking practice, which I'm getting from the vlogs, and I also have plans to visit Brazil later on this year, so I'll be getting a lot of speaking practice there. And I also need writing practice. I'm making way too many grammatical errors. I'm making way too many syntax errors, like the sentences just look weird. Then I want to do subtitles in Portuguese. That is to get some writing practice, and it is just a way of getting grammar practice as well, because I'll be forced to use the grammar, actually. Not just study it, but I'll actually be forced to use it. And whenever I'm unsure about something, I will have to actually look it up, because I don't want to make too many mistakes. I know I'll definitely make some, but I don't want to make too many. And I want to force myself to make those subtitles myself. Then we move on to games, because I play a lot of games as well when I'm studying, or at least I like to. At the moment, I'm playing 3 games, although I haven't touched Rune King in quite some time. I'm playing 3 games. I am playing Pokemon Platinum, which is a Pokemon game that I found translated into Portuguese, which is great, because I get to play a game that is a version that I actually haven't had the opportunity to play, as well as I get to practice my Portuguese. Rune King, it's a game that I have on my Nintendo Switch, which means that it's great for when I'm out traveling. And then Undertale. Undertale is this really old-looking turn-based combat game, which is actually very story-heavy, and it has this sort of childlike humor that is... It's made an attempt to make that humor more fitting for adults. So I'm playing that, and I'm learning a lot from that. Then I talked about doing monthly checkups. I will also be adding in monthly goals, but I will only be doing that from February and onwards, because I want to see how much I actually managed to get done in January, and I'll sort of have a feel for whether or not I managed to study as much as I wanted to, and if what I wanted to do was realistic, or if that isn't going to be possible at all. So monthly checkups will be, or monthly goals, those will be coming from February onwards. If there's an interest for that, I can probably make videos on that as well. Like I said at the beginning, I made this list in Notion, but it is entirely possible to make it in any other app. I would just suggest having something like a checklist where you can sort of check things off once you've done them, because at least for me, I find that that makes it a lot more motivating working on it, and you get this dopamine hit as you finish something, and that always feels good. So you can remember that and then move on to the next thing. I made a lot of goals, and I'm not sure I'll be able to do them. I know that it's definitely possible, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do them. But what I'm planning to do is I'm planning to set aside more time actually doing study sessions while using Discord, where you can jump in. I mean, I might not get to do as much, but I'll get some speaking practice, and I definitely need that as well. I have a Discord link, which I will be leaving in the description of this video as well, but you can also find them linked on my Instagram, where you can also send me a DM if you want that. I will be doing checkups, seeing if it seems realistic and what I'm actually getting done, whether or not there are any problems. If I manage to do all of the things that aren't for these C2 tests, I will probably have reached a level that is a lot higher than what I currently have, and thus, even if I don't manage to do the C2 test, which is a really lofty goal, I will still have made a lot of progress, and I might be able to do the C2 test in the year that follows. I don't know if C2 is going to be possible, but it is definitely possible to get all of the other things done, and that will definitely put me a lot closer to the C2, especially if I manage to push on and get some grammar studying as well. But we're going to have to see about that. So those are my yearly goals, and I would really like to know if any of you made yearly goals, or if there's anything that you feel like I'm missing, let me know. And as always, best of luck with your studies. Make out.